Hello, friends. A very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to welcome you back in our afternoon session as we do it on every Saturday. In this session, we bring you a lot of news, views, discussion, everything about real estate. Uh, First, a big thanks to all the friends actually who sent the feedback. I think there was some technical problem which was going over there in my computer, and there was a lot of echo coming up. And so one of my team member rushed, and he said, "Raman, there is some problem coming up in that," and so he was showing a little panic, but I said that's okay. The technology, this is what the beauty is, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But let's look at the best part of the technology, that we are getting an opportunity to communicate with each other sitting at our home. There are many of our friends who are uh, sitting abroad. Some of them are in India, in England, and many times we get viewers from Australia, all those countries. Isn't it something very, very amazing? So, guys, in life, you will get situations where things will not work in your favor. But don't get disappointed. Don't be panicked. Just be relaxed, cool and calm, enjoy the situation, and it's okay. It is not the end of the world. It is not the end of the life. So, please make sure when any problem comes, just maintain your cool and calm. You will always, always find the solution out there. And I love this 5-letter word which we say sorry. You know what? That really solves a lot of problem. That really solves a lot of confusion. And when I say sorry, I always mean it. Sometimes people they just are habitual of saying the same things, and for anything and everything they will just simply say sorry without having any meaning to it. But you know what? If you realize that you have made a mistake or something wrong has happened, there might be a situation which is totally out of the control. It can happen. So before we talk further, we are going to have an interesting discussion today. Let me welcome Mr. Kamal Tomar. Kamal, how are you?
All good, fantastic, Mr. Raman.
So
Everything
how
is
was the music in my previous video? That was, I created that echo. I really spent a lot of time, and I thought, what, let's try echo today.
it's hard to explain what it was, and even hard to mimic it. Let me tell you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kamal, that really gives me a little discussion which we can have. In life, it happens so many times that problem comes, challenges come. I've seen people, they get freak out on those situations. They get freak out on those challenges. How do you deal with these situations?
Depends on the kind of problem we are talking about here, because there are certain problems definitely, like it freak out like any person, like I would say, in fact, if even I include myself, because it varies on the intensity of the problem we are talking about. And yeah, few things definitely you control, but that's the very balanced gesture we are talking about, a balanced approach we are talking about. But it's very hard to find, because few situations really test you, and I believe that's the ideal way of putting it up, that yeah, you should be balanced. But yeah, it's not, sometimes not always very possible that you act in that way. In my case also, I do react, I do panic, and but yeah, somewhere I try to pull those things. Now I'm working on that, where you need to pull yourself and calm, and then act accordingly.
Yeah. Kamal, two lessons which I learned in my life with the time. When I was young like you, 20 years before, I was very aggressive. I was very reactive to the situations. And believe me, at a point of time, I get high-headed as well, because when you start getting success, success goes on your head, right? And I was getting arrogant. Few incidences happened which actually gave me a big learning of life. And this is what I learned. First of all, the more you grow, the humble you become. Very, very important. Second important lesson, Kamal. Don't react to any situation. Because if you are reacting to any situation, it means somebody else controls you. Somebody else has your switch. So I can simply come and press onto your switch by saying something which you don't like, and I can pretty much ruin your day. So with time, I started learning. I started, making myself cool and calm, and my meditation really helped a lot, a lot. And I sometimes feel proud of myself when I see, what, I have not even reacted to a worst situation. I just handle it calmly, and I said, no problem, don't you worry. It's just a matter of time. It will rectify. So, the more successful, the more you grow, the humble you become. Don't react to a situation. And third and most important thing, if you cannot avoid the adverse situation, enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Whatever has to happen, has to happen. If you
Has to
can't
happen.
control it, just
Of course.
simply enjoy it.
Enjoy
So,
it.
uh, how I brought myself onto that level, I'll tell you. So first, I was in a negative state where I was reacting to every situation. So I started learning, what, first of all, I have to bring myself into a neutral state. Neutral state means that you don't react to any situation, you don't show your emotions to any situation. But then comes the third stage where you again have to react to a situation, where you again have to show your emotion to a situation. So the first emotion was your anger, your anxiety, you're really getting frustrated. Then you bring yourself onto the neutral level where you are not having any anger, you are not having any anxiety. Now the third level where you again have to show the emotion is the emotion of enjoyment. Even if something wrong happens, enjoy it. Even if something adverse happens, just stay cool and calm and make yourself happy. So first you don't have to show the emotion, and then you have to show the emotion, but the emotions are different. Does that
I,
make sense to you?
I know, but this is a very ideal situation. I mean, I know we need to work on that. I mean, you have already worked on it and reached there, but to be very honest, sometimes we try to work on that, but not every time you give you 100%. But yeah, at now the your conscious has started stopping you, or at least checking you that okay,
Yeah.
don't react. Again the same situation is coming. So I think those things have started happening, and I could see that those are for the good reason. That I think everyone needs to work on that part. Yeah.
I think, Kamal, you and me both keep talking about these situations, and I always try my level best to keep sharing with you whatever I can, because it is very, very important, not only in our personal life, but in our professional life as well, that we have to make ourselves better every single day. So, Kamal, today we are going to talk about an interesting topic. I was an immigrant. You have landed here in this country as an immigrant, and of course, we have all have gone through that situation where when we landed, the first and foremost thing was how and where we are going to live, right? So everybody, pretty much everybody, I would say 99.9% of the people started their life as a tenant. We are in real estate now, but believe me, when I landed in this country, this is what I learned, and I will share that experience. And this is very important discussion which we are going to have today is about renting versus buying. So first, you share your experience with me, because I think that uh, your practical experience is definitely going to help a lot many of our viewers, because they all can very well correlate how they started their life. But especially to new immigrants or the people who are planning to immigrate, there are a lot many viewers which we get from abroad, like from India and other countries, and they all have an aspiration to come in this country as an immigrant. They all have to go through that situation. But before that, I would all like to request few of our friends if they can just put their feedback over there. Are they able to hear it properly? The picture quality is good, so I would love to hear some feedback from our viewers. In the meanwhile, Kamal, I would love to understand your perspective as a tenant in this country.
So, Raman, when I came in here, it was almost 2017, and but when I landed here, it was like very clear from day one when I was planning for Canada that when I will land here, just like I mean our back home mentality that I want to buy my own house. That's the first thing. The math started from there, the numbers started from there. How do I need to save the money and all those things, whatever I have worked in India, I had some of my savings. So, but the idea was land here and buy my own property. Okay, but it is easy to think, but little difficult to implement sometimes, So I came in here. I started. I rent out a basement, and I was staying there. But I started looking for houses. I started looking for. Then I started realizing that the money which I was thinking would suffice is not sufficient, because the more I started deep diving in, I realized, oh, this house doesn't have this, budget need to increase. And comes a moment where I have stretched myself to the maximum, where whatever was there, I put in that money, or from wherever I can borrow, I borrowed. And but the idea was to have my own house. So in 2018, after almost a year of hunting and everything, I bought this house, and I'm really proud of that decision. Although it was little uncomfortable for me, for my family, the way we stressed, and we just tried to accommodate things. And to be very honest, Mr. Raman, in the first 3 months, I was not able to put in the complete furniture also, because whatever was there, I just put it in the down payment. Because as a new immigrant, like, the challenge was for me regarding the credit issues. Like, I wasn't having anything bad, but I never had any credit history. So I was not qualifying, and the stress test came in. So after putting everything up, I was able to take this house. And now what I see after 2.5 or 3 years, rather, I would say exactly 3 years. I mean, I give my live example to many of my friends and who just land here, and I always tell them, go and buy a house. And I tell them that on the same property, I made, just by putting, say, roughly around 150,000. Right now, I am having almost 280,000 more what I put it there. So I can only term in this way, not exactly like the mortgage language or the bank language I can explain, but I made a good money over there. I'm still living there, but I can now think of upgrading myself to a bigger house. This money is really going to help me a lot, which I built in last 3 years, which hard I would have tried saving from my job. I wouldn't have done that. Means it wouldn't be possible. So I'm just sharing the live thing, what happened with me.
Yeah, and I think, Kamal, that's really really uh, a live experience, which I think is going to be very helpful for a lot many people, especially new immigrants. Kamal, I would also like to thank some of the people who actually put up their feedback. I can see Prashant Aneja there. I can see Mr. Nav Bhagan. Now, thank you very much for. I can see Mr. Ravi Ban, who joined us from India, and we had a wonderful discussion today morning. And Ravi, thank you very much for joining for the session as well. Ravi is a very positive and very inspiring personality, and it was an wonderful discussion. Because, Kamal, it's always good in our life, like, to have to talk to like-minded people, to talk to people, those who have an aspiration, not only to grow themselves but to grow others. That's very very important. And I always believe, Kamal, there's no better charity in life than creating a job for somebody. Because if you create a job for someone, that affects 50 people in his or her surrounding in a very positive way, right? And I think pandemic has proven that. uh, I'm pretty sure a lot many people might have approached you who lost their job during this pandemic, and they were going through some mental challenges, and they were not really knew how to put their time into a creative way. But sitting at home is definitely not going to bring you some positive energy. So this is a very very important aspect of life, I personally believe. So, Kamal, I would also like to share my own experience as a tenant in this country. Do you know, in first year I actually changed 6 basements somehow, like six, I would say, uh, houses or basement or whatever you say. So I lived in a sharing accommodation. I lived with my friends. I lived in, I rented one of the a room in the basement as well. But somehow, initial 1 year, the situation was like that. I landed on September 28, 2003, and I went back on November 2004 to get married. So it was almost like 14 months, and I changed 6 places for rent. So when I was going back to India to get married, because I had little stuff, like I had maybe one mattress and some few of the utensils and all that stuff. Not much, like, and couple of bags for my clothes and everything. So I thought, you know what, I have to live in India for almost 1.5 months. So I vacated the place. I put my luggage at one of my friend's place, because at that time saving $600-700 was a big deal for me. So when I came back again, I lived with one of my friend, and Nidhi was coming back after 3 months. And then we rented a basement on what you call it. I remember Derry and McLaughlin. But not too many people know about this. I bought my first house in this country, Kamal. Do you know when I bought my first house in this country?
No, I have no idea.
In the first month of my landing.
Oh.
I bought that house in partnership with somebody, but that I don't consider that as it was my first house, because the first house in which we bought, where we lived, actually, me and Nidhi, we started our life, was in 2006, somewhere in June. So until that time, but see, Kamal, this is what I learned when I came in this country. I try to analyze the economic system. I try to analyze the social system of this country. And I realized that there are three major expenses which eats up majority of your income. So, and husband and wife, on an average, let's say both of them are doing job. I'm talking about a regular job where somebody's making $3,000 to $4,000. So if there are husband and wife who are making, like, say, both of them are making $4,000 each, so their family income is $8,000. Nowadays, at that time, we used to get the basement for $700-800, but I'm surprised, like, these days you don't even get the basement for $1,400-1,500. So let's say, on an average, somebody pays $1,500 to $2,000 as an rent for an accommodation. So technically, out of $8,000, if you're paying $2,000 as a rent, 25% of your income is gone. Right? Now comes to your taxes. So in Canada, the tax system is like that you are paying on an average like 20 to 25% of the taxes. So 25% income is gone in rent, 25% income is gone in taxes. So 50% of your income is gone. On top of it, Kamal, you buy any stuff, you pay 13% HST. That takes 63% of your income is done. Now I'm not talking about insurance, I'm not talking about anything else. Now you are just left with 37% of the hard-earned money. So out of $8,000, you just left with $3,000 for your insurance, for your grocery, for anything and everything, for your kids and whatnot. So I thought, what is a good idea? How I can replace this 63% of the income. So the first thing which came into my mind, you know what? I have to replace the rental income. And how I can replace, rental expense. How can I replace the rental expense? By owning a property. Right? So this was my promise to Nidhi when she landed. So we lived in a beautiful one-bedroom basement apartment. I used to pay like, I think, $700 or $800 rent for that. And for pretty much 3 months, we lived over there. And I promised to Nidhi when she came and landed as an immigrant. And I said, Nidhi, we are going to buy our first house within 90 days. Exactly 90 days after we were in our house. So, and I started sharing that learning with my friends. And they always used to talk to me because at that time I was not in real estate. And I always used to encourage them to buy a house because this was my learning and I thought I will share my learning with others. But there was another reason for that. So many times people used to ask me, are you getting some commission from a real estate agent that you are pushing us to buy a house? I said, no, you can buy a house from any agent. I'm not telling you from who you should buy the house, but at least go and buy the house. And they were very surprised. And they used to ask me, Raman, why you want, what's your benefit into that? I said, guys, first of all, this is my learning. Because I think you can save 25% of your expense, which is a very major expense, and you can put that money towards the equity of the house. Now, my second reason was, Kamal, I always believed in my life my friends, people in my circle, they all should be well to do. Because if you, as my friend, have a good house, I get an opportunity. You're going to call me for the lunch and dinner.
Of
I
course.
get an opportunity. I have another place to go for a lunch. But think about it. If all your friends, they're hand to mouth, they're poor, they don't have a house, first of all, they're never ever going to invite you. So you always have to eat at your home. Second, you will not feel proud. You will not be encouraged. You will not be able to push yourself, because if your friends are not at a decent levels, whenever you guys are going to talk, they're going to pull you down. So it is very, very important in our life to pray for the well-being of the people in your surroundings so that they don't bother you. Just think about it, Kamal. You have all your family members, friends. Everybody is poor, and you are the only one who is well-to-do. They're all gonna keep bothering you. Somebody will keep bothering you for money. Somebody will keep bothering you for cars. Somebody will keep. So it was. I was kind of being selfish. So that is why I always pray to Almighty or nature or God, whatever you believe in, and say, you know what? Make all my friends wealthy. Make all my friends at a good positions so that whenever I need them, they can help me out. That is the perspective which I carry in my life. What's your perspective on that, Kamal?
Um, I mean, to be very frank, I never give much thought to it like this way, because uh, it is very circumstantial to many, and I feel that everyone wants to reach to some level, but I think due to certain things, certain circumstances, or maybe of their struggle in life, they are not able to reach there. But yeah, I mean, I don't consider myself to be like doing too good or something, but still I want to be sure of one thing, that I am always there for them, in whatever situation they are. Very first thing is, always pray they should be doing good and everything good should happen with them. But yeah, I mean, for them, if they are not able to reach due to some reasons, because means I don't want that gap to ever get created, especially with my friends. I want to keep those bonds always intact. And yeah, I mean, that's my way of looking those things.
Yeah. Uh, Kamal, I would also like to take some opinions, some views from our viewers as well. What they think on this aspect of life. Do they want their friends and family members, everybody to be rich? Or, and I will share a joke as well on that. You know what happened once? Um, there was a husband and wife, and the normal husband and wife, technical issues between. It's at everybody's home, right? So one day, the god got very happy, and he appeared in front of the wife and said, okay, uh, whatever you want, I'm willing to give you whatever you need, and but you have to just be thoughtful that whatever you get, your husband is going to get 10 times more. And you have three things which you can ask for. So on the first thing, she asked, okay, I should have a lot of money. So husband got a lot of money. And the second thing, she said, I should be the most beautiful woman in the world. And the husband become most handsome man in the world, because he was getting 10 times more. And then the third one, she asked that I should get a mild heart attack. And the husband got the heart attack, which was 10 times more intensity of the wife, and he died. Anyway, so Kamal, I think we should start our topic, and I just wanted to get people a good idea about what is the difference between renting as well as buying. So let me just open the presentation, and I would request everybody to please give me the feedback about the presentation. If you can see it on your screen, Kamal, can you see the presentation on your screen?
Yeah, very much. I think just need to enlarge
Okay,
rest.
I'll just put it on the slideshow mode. I
Yeah.
don't see Sachin today. Sachin, if you are listening to me, I have already sent you the link on your email. So please join us. It's a very important discussion, and I want his input as well onto this topic too. So, Kamal, renting versus buying is always a matter of debate, especially First time buyers, especially the new immigrants, they always debate on that particular aspect, that either we should buy or we should rent. So why people rent? Why people decide to go on a rental property? And Kamal, it's a very big business in Canada. Rental, there are a lot many landlords, there are a lot many people who make the investments, and they decided to rent their property, either it is residential or commercial. So there are some specific reasons why people go on the renting. The first and most important aspect which we see in Canada is people are new immigrants, so they don't have a credit. Either it is no credit or it is a bad credit. That's what they have. The third reason is, especially millennials, especially young generation, they don't have enough money for the down payment. And about this down payment, believe me, Kamal, we can actually do one complete session, that how you can uh, save money for your down payment. Now, this I find a lot of time, and I find this as a very weird reason for people going out and renting, is they don't want to take the responsibility of the mortgage. I know from my perspective, it could be a weird decision, but people, everybody have their own perspective. But this is what I have seen, a very major reason why people don't want to buy and they like to rent, because they don't want to take the responsibility of the mortgage. Another one is unstable job. In many jobs, people are not sure how quickly they can be relocated from one place to another. So this always becomes an hindrance in their decision to buying a house. And then, of course, comes the affordability of the mortgage. That is another reason why people don't go and buy. Now, let's look at the other aspect of it, why people buy the house. First important aspect, it is a pride of ownership. And Kamal, this is what I understood when I actually bought my first house. You know what? You lived in the house for almost, what did you told me, Kamal, for 3 months without furniture. I lived in my first house pretty much without furniture, because I decided to sell that house after 5 months. And I think that house was one of the reason for me coming into the real estate industry. Because when I bought that house after 5 months, I decided to sell. I made some good amount of money. I made almost like $35,000-$40,000 out of it. And I thought, you know what, this is the way I should go. Real estate is the career which I can build up in this country. And I feel so proud on my decision of that time. So pride of ownership is one of the most important factor. And one thing I can share with my experience, when somebody buys the house, their social life is going to change a lot. Because when you are living in basement, Kamal, most of the time we avoid inviting people to our home. Like, we always feel like, what, oh, I live in a basement, what would they think, what would they say? And it's not really comfortable to invite a lot many people in the basement. So when you buy the house, you invite some of your friends, and when you invite them, it becomes their obligation to invite you. And the social life start becoming better. The second important uh, reason for buying the house is to build up an equity in the property. I always say there are two benefits of buying the house. First of all, and both of them go simultaneously. First of them is pride of ownership, and second, you are building up an equity as well. So your first or second house solve both the purpose. The third important thing, value gets increased with the time. And I am observing this market from last, I would say, 14, 15 years as a professional, as a realtor, and almost 17 or 18 years as a resident of this country. I have not seen people losing money in real estate until and unless they make a ridiculous decision. So if you have a holding capacity, if you are an investor in true senses, then you are never ever going to lose money in real estate. That's what my personal experience is, and I'm pretty sure many other people might have experienced the same. Another important thing is the tax deduction. Uh, on the principal residences, though there has been some conversation that government might come up with an, I would say it's a ridiculous idea to put tax on the principal house, but until now, there is no tax, there's no capital gain tax on the principal residence, which is really keeping the economy on a very good pace. Now, another thing why people buy the house is the fixed payments, and the sixth one is the stability. So, these are some of the reasons why people rent the house and why people buy the house. Now, let's do a comparison, renting versus buying. Kamal, what's your call on this? What do you think is better, renting or buying, and why?
Oh, anytime buying is I mean, best option. That's like, see, what I used to think. Maybe it's a very, and I won't hide my words. I would give you the real thing. What I used to think is, if I was paying a 1,500 as a rent and it is going in vain, like, for it's nothing coming back to me, right? I thought, even if I put something from my pocket, and even if I start paying 1,800 in lease, at least 700, 800, or 900 is coming back to me, which is where the equity is getting built, right? So technically, I am staying in my own property with my own freedom, with
Mhm.
my everything on my own, and being the owner. That's another pride, definitely. And having that social life, increasing that social life with just a cost of, say, I think interest was, say, maybe I would say $700, $800. So
Mhm.
that was my way of looking at this buying option. And I'm a firm believer that anyone, any moment, get a chance, like, not to lose an opportunity of buying, and maybe a small or a big, it doesn't matter. Even I was talking to someone few days back. The gentleman came from India, and he was contemplating that the prices have gone so high, and this. I said, see, even if you buy a condo, you still buy something that belongs to you, you know so maybe if you cannot afford 1.5 or 2 million, because the property prices have gone so high, the affordability is a challenge for few of them. I said, why don't you go for 400, 500, or maybe 600,000 of a condo, which might be easily getting it, because I am not from real estate. I couldn't give him money options. So, like, again, I say, like, buying is the best option, which I consider.
Yeah. And Kamal, we have a question from Mr. Anil Apu. First of all, Anil, thank you very much for joining us. Anil's question is, new immigrant, what are the chances? I mean, can a new buy house straight away? Yes, Mr. Anil, this is very interesting question, and I actually wanted to address this question because many of the time these new immigrants, they think that, you know what, I cannot buy the house, and unfortunately they don't go and find the right information. Anil, even major banks, they recognized the new immigrants, because I still remember earlier what used to happen is the banks, they used to ask your established credit and your down payment and established job from last 1 or 2 years. But with time, banks, they realized that there's a big business which new immigrants, they come, and the best part was the default ratio was very minimal from the new immigrants. So that gave banks a lot of confidence. And then the finance minister and all the big banks and everybody, they all might have discussed, and they came up with that idea where these days they recognize the new immigrants without their established credit. And if you have a confirmed job only for 3 months, you have 10% down payment. And even in some cases, with 5% down payment, if all other credentials are very strong, you can qualify for a mortgage. So, I personally advise all the new immigrants to consider buying the house within first year of their landing, as long as they have some savings for their down payment. And these days, what I see, immigrants, they all are coming with decent money in their pockets, which is very comfortable, which is very easy for them to come and buy the house. And also, Anil, I just wanted to share with you, majority of the bank consider you as a new immigrant if you landed within the last 5 years in the country, which is a very, very long time. Some of the banks consider 3 years, but some of the bank consider 5 years. And on top of it, for new immigrants, there are some special programs where you actually, if you are a new immigrant, you can put 35% down payment, and that's it. And bank, they are willing to give you the mortgage. So a lot of banks, they have started recognizing this thing. They have started recognizing the potential business in new immigrants. And now if you go to any bank, any standard bank, If you are a new immigrant, they right away give you the credit card so that you can start establishing your credit history and all that stuff. So, Kamal, we have Sachin with us as well. I would like to take some of his points too. So let me just bring Sachin on board. Sachin, how are you?
I'm good, Raman, and good afternoon, everybody.
Good. Kamal, I think Anil put another point there. I've seen many videos of Indians who are in Canada. Anil, I'm not too sure whose videos you see. Either they know about real estate or no. Or many times I have seen people, what, they just start spreading the gyan, which we call it, like, on the WhatsApp or on the social media. You need to have the right source of information. It is very, very, very important. Sachin, though I explained, but I want you to give a little bit more insight about how a new immigrant can qualify for the mortgage, because this is very important. And then we will go on to our presentation as well.
Raman, as you rightly said, that what, in the beginning, new immigrant, they have got a lot of questions. They have got a lot of, I would say, concerns. Sometimes they want to own a house, but they're approaching to the people who cannot or who are not in a position to provide them with the right information. And in lack of that, I would say the right information, they are not able to make the right decision about buying a house. So it is very, very important that you approach to a professional who knows how the real estate works, how the mortgage works, so that they can guide you in the right direction. Now, as far as, since today's topic is renting versus buying, the I would say, ask yourself, whenever you're deciding between renting and buying, ask yourself some questions. Do you want to pay your own mortgage, or do you want to pay somebody else's mortgage? You get the answer yes or no. Do you want to see the value of your own house getting increased, or do you want to see the value of somebody else's house is getting increased? Do you want to build the equity in your own house, or do you want to build the equity for somebody else's house? And once you get the answer from these questions, you will know what you need to do. And the right choice will be to buy your house, so that you can pay your own mortgage, wherein the effective cost of living into that house will be way lesser than even leasing the same house or renting the same house. And you will be building equity in your own house, and you will see the money growing, just like Kamal mentioned, that the money doubled within 2 or 3 years. If I give you my example, Raman, you mentioned that you bought your first house within first month of landing in Canada. I bought my first house within, I would say, 4 months of landing in Canada. And thanks to you on that, because I was able to connect with the right person who was able to give me the right direction when I was deciding about buying a house. And 4 years down the line, when I end up selling that house, I had enough money with me, which I could make the down payment for a house which is way more than $500,000 at that time. And the process was repeated again after 4 years, and I had more than $400,000 in equity, by which I was able to afford a house which was around $1.3 million. If I wouldn't have taken a decision to buy my first house, believe me, there was no way that I could have the enough saving by which I could put a down payment for $1.3 million.
Yep.
So that gives you a very, I would say, right perspective what you should do between renting and the buying.
Yeah. Kamal, let me ask you the question. When did you bought your first house? How long? How old were you in this country?
I started looking for my house when I was, I would say, around 3 months old in the country. Because, like, I was helped by Mr. Lalit Batla, and he was like helping me for the entire process. So I could, and he already told me that, don't go by number of days. Like, it can be sometimes take 2 months, 3 months, and can be more than that, because you want to get a house or property which you are looking at, and which is your choice, rather, I would say. So it took almost, I would say, 6 months of my hunting. And after 3 months, when I landed in this country, I started looking. And after 6 months, I was able to narrow down on something, and with the closing of 1.5 or 2 months, and I moved into that house exactly after 1 year when I landed in this country.
Yeah. That's the and guys. So these are the examples in front of you. Like Kamal bought the house like first within first year. Sachin bought the house within first year. Now I have a couple of more questions from Anil. Anil says, so as a new immigrant, for example, if somebody has just landed say 1 month ago for down payment, would the bank help? Anil, I think I made it very clear that you need some money in your pocket as a down payment, and most of the time I would say, you know what, 3 months of the job is good enough. Like if you have a confirmed job for 3 months and you have 10% down payment, you can qualify for the mortgage based on your income. Uh, so down payment for a house like 200 and 300,000, it can be as low as 30,000. And you can, I always recommend, like, if you have 20% down payment, you save a lot of money on paying insurance. So you save a lot of CMHC. Mr. Ravi Ban has a question like, can Indian citizen buy real estate in Canada and can they avail mortgage facility? Yes, Mr. Ravi, Indian citizens can buy mortgage, can buy the house, can buy the real estate in Canada, and they can avail the facility of the mortgage as well. Lot many banks, they encourage the international investors as long as they put 35% down payment. And in some of the banks they have an which we call as an equity deal, where you need at least 1 year as an a mortgage in your bank, and your mortgage can very well be uh, taken care just by the rental income. So there are facilities available for Indian citizens, and that is what we are planning to do. There's a lot of people who wanted to move to Canada either as an immigrant or they want to make some investment, and I think that is what the plan, the expansion plan, which we are planning to do. Kamal, would you like to share a little bit about our expansion plan in India, like how we are building up the infrastructure for other countries as well?
Yeah, so for India, definitely we are now at the last leg of our launch, and I would say maybe 1 or 1.5 month is the time where we see our very strong digital platform that will give us a good digital presence also in India, plus a very strong business model we are coming up therewith. And like every time when we talk about this, I always get a lot of interest from the people in India, and the next week entirely goes into this. So I would say that people who are looking for, definitely you can connect with us, and we are in a process of shortlisting business partners. And right now we are focusing only towards like couple of regions, and when we can discuss in length I can explain you about that. But this model is a unique business model which we are bringing for our business partners, and in any of the countries, we are trying to create that uniqueness what we created in Canada, and we see that there is a lot of traction coming from the domestic market. Now, as per the country, as per the the local setup, we are bringing those business model with a uniqueness. Touch of uniqueness is there, and when people are joining hands, we ensure that they make a lot of money. Rather, not only money, they will make a lot of money in the first year of their inception with us.
Yep. And guys, if anybody, like who is interested to partner with us in India, of course you can get in touch with Kamal, and Kamal will share his number with you as well. So Kamal, let me take us to the presentation. Give me 1 second, and just I would need a little feedback that can you see the presentation, Kamal?
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's compare renting versus buying. So what are the benefits of renting? Let's first look at the benefits of renting, and then we will talk about benefits of buying. Then we will talk about disadvantages of renting and disadvantages of buying. And guys, our job is to provide you the information. Of course, the final decision belongs to you. It is absolutely your call. We are the facilitator. We are the information providing people, and we want to make sure that we keep educating all our, not only all our clients, but public in general, because real estate always brings a lot of interest and attracts lot many people. I would say it attracts everybody. So let's talk about what are the benefit of renting. In renting, there's very low maintenance. There's no unexpected cost when you are renting a property, because majority of the time the landlord takes care of any bigger wear and tear and damage to the property. Of course, it is. I'm not saying that okay, you damage the property and the landlord is going to take care, but I'm talking about normal wear and tear is being taken care by the landlord. Now, what are the benefits of buying? First of all, the most important benefit is pride of ownership. You have a place to call home, right? Then you can customize your own space. You are building equity in the hot market, and the Canadian market. If I talk about it, I'm seeing this as a hot market from last 15 years. Now, disadvantages of renting: you have known recoverable money. You're dealing with a landlord, and he can be a very, very nasty landlord. Of course, like sometimes you get the nasty tenants as well, but majority of the cases I've seen, landlords and tenants, they are very fantastic. Then you are living with rules and regulations and limitations. That doesn't mean when you're gonna own the house, you can break all the rules and regulations. No, it's not like that. But then you have a little bit more onto you. I'll give you an example. When I used to live in the basement, uh, the landlord has an instruction: make sure you're sleeping at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. The lights are not on. This of your friend cannot come, or you have to do this. You can just do laundry once in a week. So all those kind of restrictions were there. Now, if we come to disadvantages of buying, of course, it comes with more responsibility. Second thing is you are locked into one place. If you have your own house, you cannot keep changing. Kamal, I shared with you in first year, I changed almost like 6 accommodations. And then you have slightly higher carrying cost as compared to renting, which always gets compensated when you start building up your equity. Now, I want to give a little perspective of 5 year renting versus buying situation, because this is going to be a very, very good glimpse to somebody to understand with the numbers, because numbers always make sense. So we are putting two scenarios. One scenario is renting and one scenario is buying. So let's look at the first scenario where we are talking about renting. So let's say comparing the cost of owning this 700,000 condo with 20% down payment, and I put a little bit higher rate of mortgage, 3.39%, right? And I put the average rent for 2019, 2020, which is approximately $3,000. So if we are paying $3,000 for the 2 bedroom condo, and we are paying $50 as a utilities and $25 as an insurance, altogether we are paying $3,064 per month to the landlord. Now, if we buy the similar property with 20% down payment, of course, we can do a complete debate. We can do a full session on how you should collect or how you should save down payment. Your mortgage is going to be 2763. It is going to be much lesser, but I still put that number on a very higher side. Then you are paying condo fees, which is $400, utilities, which is $150, property taxes, which is approximately $350, and the property insurance, which is $50. So you're paying almost $3,721 over there. Now, there's a difference of $657, which you are paying more when you are owning the property. Now, key benefit that comes with owning is that you're building equity alongside those monthly payments rather than just paying your landlord. So let's look at what happens after 5 years. So after 5 years, if you have paid the rent, so I have put up an annual increase of 1.8% on an average. So you have paid $185,915 as a rent for 5 years and expenses, which is $4,500. So that takes your total to $190,415. Now, in owning the property, you paid $77,800 as a principal, $88,000 as an interest, and you paid $57,000 expenses. So you paid almost like $223,920. After 5 years, you would have paid $37,375 more to own versus rent. So just for the calculation purpose, I'm taking some historical figures of average 5 years property increment and for the 5-year term. So the purchase price was 700,000. In first year, your property with 5% appreciation gets on to 735. In second year, 771. In third year, 810. And in fifth year, that property is 893,397. So this is just a theoretical number, but believe me, the practical number is much more, much above, much beyond than that. So in 5 years, you have gained an equity of 193,397 in that property. And do the calculation how much you did as a down payment. So technically, your money has gone more than double in 5 years. So that makes more than 20% return on your investment. So I'm pretty sure this calculation might have helped you to understand it a little bit in a different way. And this 5-year perspective was really an insight for anybody who is considering renting the house, will give you a good understanding why renting is better than the buying. So Sachin, what do you think about all these numbers? Sachin, I think we have lost your voice.
Sorry.
Is that?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So, Raman, I think the number that you have shown in presentation, they are very, very conservative numbers. The interest rate that you have chosen is really high interest rate. As if you look at the today's market, right now the market is the interest rate is going approximately around 1.5 to 1.6%, which will bring down the monthly mortgage when you purchase a house from maybe $2,800 to around close to around $2,400. And if I look at the historical data for last 5 years, and if I talk about anywhere, I would say in Ontario, specifically if I talk about GTA or around the GTA, I know when we talk about the appreciation, we talk about the Canadian market as a whole, wherein we say that it has increased by 5% annually. But if I talk about GTA and around GTA, in last 5 years, the value of the properties has doubled. Any house which was available for approximately around 600,000 to 700,000 in 2015 or 2016, right now that house is selling close to around 1.3, $1.4 million right now. If I talk about the average price of the house in GTA, that has gone close to around say 900,000 plus. If I talk about the condo market also, the average condo price has gone 600,000 plus in GTA. So if you look at those stats, definitely the numbers shown over here in the presentation are very, very conservative. The actual numbers is totally different than these numbers, and they are much more aggressive for the any potential buyer. So it clearly shows that when you are buying a house in comparison to when you are renting a house, it puts more money into your pocket. And this is what I have learned in Canada, that the only way you can, no matter what job you do, what income level you are at, maybe you're doing a basic job or maybe you are doing a high-end job getting paid 150K or 200K, but only way you can save money is by owning a real estate. That's the only way in this country wherein you can save the money, you can build the equity, and you can build a better future for your family and for your kids. That is what I would say upon this.
Yeah. Kamal, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in your presentation it gives 5 years. I mean, if I will give my example, I have doubled the money in 3 years. Means a live example I can give you. Like not you're not going too far, and interest is again somewhere near to like 2.4 or something, 2.5. I got that the mortgage at. So I would say this is the live example, and not to go too far. If right now also people are thinking, I think they should be making this call that right now it's better to get in the buying process. Yeah, I mean, property they can select where they what come in their budget, but always a good idea to buy.
Yeah. And I'm not too sure, Kamal, Sachin, if you are aware about that. There's a company which is selling land on the moon. Do you know that?
Yes, I know that.
And very soon, I think Elon Musk will start selling land on Mars. Did you buy
Do
something
you
on
plan to
moon?
buy one lot over there? Do you plan to buy one lot over there?
I would love to. I would love to. Believe me. I was actually, when I heard about this company who is selling the lots on the moon, because they have taken the permission from United Nations as well. I was pretty much like, one time I actually did a research to buy it. So
Yeah. No,
it's
I'm hoping in our lifetime we will be able to go to moon at least, not if not Mars.
let's hope.
Yes.
Great, guys. So I think it was an interesting perspective to share with our viewers the benefit, advantages, and disadvantages of renting versus buying. And if there's any question which we can answer, it'll be our pleasure. And thank you very much, a lot of people, for joining us for today. And I know we had some technical difficulty. I once again sincerely apologize for that. And we'll make sure from next time onwards we have no technical challenge over there. If you like this session, please don't hesitate to share with your friends and family members. And of course, you can go and like our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel, where we are putting up all these informational videos. I'm pretty sure something can help you for sure. So, Kamal, you get 30 seconds to talk about anything, whatever you want.
I would just say, like what I always say every time, like we have a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs, for realtors, for the broker of records. If anyone looking to join hands anywhere, I mean, now I would proudly say anywhere in Canada, anywhere in India, just feel free to connect. My number is already there, 416-333-8747. We can discuss, we can tell you about the process, and I would say it is going to be an amazing experience for anyone looking to join hands.
Absolutely, Kamal. Sachin, you get again 30 seconds. I'm sure you're gonna take 45, but I give you 30.
So today, instead of talking about the opportunities that we about the opportunities that everybody of all of us has, that owning a real estate in Canada, this will again, as I said, change your life. It will build equity for you, and it will build a better future for yourself, your family, and your kids. So, especially this is message for first time home buyers and the newly immigrants who have just come to Canada. Uh, I understand that you might have a lot of people telling you that, you know what, don't buy real estate. It is too early for you. But I would request all of you to seek a professional advice. I always believe in country like Canada, you don't need money to buy a real estate. You just need a mindset to buy a real estate. Just have a mindset and own a real estate. This will change your life. Thank you very much and enjoy your weekend.
Perfect. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Kamal, for joining for today's session. And thank you to all the viewers for such a wonderful participation. I really, really appreciate that, because that gives us a lot of encouragement. Uh, if you have not visited our website, which is www.savemax.com, you can go and check the value of your property all across GTA. You can go and put free rental listings over there. You can find all the sold properties data over there. So you will find like 16 years sold properties, and close to, like, all the properties all across the GTA. And the best feature in that website is you can go and find out the value of your property online without any human interaction. There's a wonderful artificial intelligence system which is working on the back end for the website. And uh, again, in that venture as well, our simple and clear cut objective was that we want to make sure that our people are informed, they have all the knowledge, so that they can make the right decision. And this is what we always believe in. Thank you very much for joining for today's session. I really, really appreciate your wonderful participation. Stay safe, enjoy your weekend with your family, and we will see you sharp at 12 o'clock next week. Till then, goodbye. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thanks, everyone.